Hello everyone. Today we will take a historical tour. This time it will be in another prefecture. Move southwest from Yamaguchi Prefecture. Arrived in 2 days. Let's zoom in on the map a bit more. I'm on the southern side of the Shimabara Peninsula. That's about it. Now let's switch to the camera. This time, it is actually a separate episode from the Shimabara Peninsula Touring Edition motorcycle travel video that has been released. I thought I'd briefly introduce it in the bike video. It's too long, so I've decided to split it up. The place we will visit this time is during the Edo period, after the end of the war-torn era. This is the site of a major rebellion. What on earth happened? I would like to explain about Ikki here. In Japan, Ikki is a concept referring to a group organization or its actions formed for a single purpose. Historical research on Ikki began with the Iko-Ikki and Do-Ikki uprisings of the Middle Ages, and it has been pointed out that Ikki came to be seen as a popular uprising, something that should be prohibited by feudal lords, rulers, and as a union of groups of people or riots. However, for example, the Hizen Matsuura party confirmed their unity by signing an Ikki agreement. In early Japanese history studies, these samurai unions were called parties, such as the Matsuura Party of Hizen Province and the Sumida Party of Ki Province, and were considered to be separate, continuous political organizations distinct from Ikki. The Shimabara Peninsula, where the tranquil and beautiful scenery soothes the people who live there, seems like it would be hard to imagine an uprising happening. The uprising mentioned in the textbook refers to the Shimabara Rebellion. Tens of thousands of people took up arms and rebelled against the government. I would like to explain about the Shimabara Rebellion. The Shimabara Rebellion, which took place from 1637, Kani 14, to 1638, Kani 15, was a large-scale peasant uprising against the Edo shogunate in the Shimabara and Amakusa regions. It was a result of Matsukura Katsui's heavy taxes, which made life difficult for the people, and his forced expulsion of peasants who could not pay taxes and Christians who refused to convert. Shimabara was the territory of the Christian Lord Arima Harunobu, and Christianity was widely practiced among the people. However, in 1614, Keicho 19, following the transfer of the Arima clan, Matsukura Shigemasa was also transferred from Yamato Gojo to Shimabara. Shigemasa was ordered to build Edo Castle and also rebuilt Shimabara Castle, but in the process imposed excessive taxes on the people. He also began persecuting Christians, as recorded by Dutch trading post chief Nicholas Kekbacker and Portuguese captains. The people of Shimabara, who had transformed their status from samurai to farmers and held leadership positions in the region, organized an uprising and secretly plotted a rebellion, led by vassals of the former Arima clan. An uprising also took place in Higo Amakusa, primarily composed of ronin, masterless samurai. The ringleaders of the Shimabara rebellion gathered on Yashima, Dango Island, and decided to appoint Amakusa Shiro, a 16-year-old boy who enjoyed charismatic popularity among Christians, as the rebel leader. On October 25, 1637, December 11, 1637, Christians from Arima village gathered at the magistrate's office and assassinated Magistrate Hayashi Hizeman, sparking the Shimabara rebellion. The Shimabara domain immediately dispatched a punitive force and engaged the rebels in battle at Fuki village, but retreated to Shimabara Castle due to exhaustion. The rebels stormed Shimabara Castle, burned and plundered the castle town, and then retreated. Rebellions also broke out in Higo and Amakusa. Led by Amakusa Shiro, the rebels attacked key locations in Amakusa, including Hondo Castle, and killed Miyake Shigetoshi, the lord of Tomioka Castle, at the Battle of Hondo on November 14. While attacking Tomioka Castle, where Karatsu clan soldiers were holed up, the rebels learned of the approaching punitive forces of Kyushu clans. Deciding that an attack from the rear would be disadvantageous, they retreated, crossed the Ariake Sea, and moved to the Shimabara Peninsula, where they barricaded themselves in the ruins of the abandoned Hara Castle. We're almost at our destination. I saw it. That's it. It looks bigger than expected. We have arrived. Hara Castle ruins. There was a fierce battle here between the people and the government. Some researchers believe that the rebels hoped to use this opportunity to incite Christian rebellion within Japan, leading to civil war, and even to seek Portuguese reinforcements. In fact, the rebels sent emissaries throughout Japan, initially attempting to invade Nagasaki, where the Portuguese trading post was located. In response, the shogunate returned influential daimyo to their territories and strengthened security. However, due to wind conditions, it would have been difficult for Portugal to send reinforcements at this time. Upon learning of the rebellion, the shogunate dispatched Shoingashira Edakura Shigemasa as an emissary and deputy emissary Ishitani Sadakiyo. Shigemasa's punitive forces from various Kyushu domains surrounded Hara Castle and launched repeated attacks, including a combined assault on December 10 and 20, but were defeated each time. While Hara Castle's defenses were strong and the rebel forces united and eager to fight, the punitive forces were a motley collection of domains. This resulted in a lack of unity and fighting spirit, which is thought to be one of the reasons for the failure of the attack. The shogunate took the situation seriously and decided to dispatch a second punitive emissary, including senior counselor Matsudaira Nobutsuna and vice chief Toda Yujikane. Fearing that credit might be stolen from him, Ikura Shigemasa launched another combined assault on January 1, 1638, February 14, 1638, in an attempt to quell the rebellion before Nobutsuna's arrival. However, the attack ended in failure, with an estimated 4,000 casualties and Commander-in-Chief Shigemasa being killed in battle by a direct hit from a gun. Upon hearing this news, the shogunate ordered Mizuno Katsunari and Ogasawara Tadamasa to send reinforcements on January 10, February 24. Led by Nobutsuna, the punitive force, now swelled to over 120,000 with the addition of reinforcements, completely surrounded Hara Castle from both land and sea. Umsuk Mikani Masamori had the Koga ninja squad infiltrate Hara Castle to closely monitor the rebel army's movements, and confirmed that they were running low on food. On January 6, Dutch factory chief Koekbakker provided 5 naval cannons to the shogunate forces and also dispatched the ship De Ridge to Shimabara to bombard the castle. However, the bombardment had no noticeable effect, and criticism grew within the shogunate forces, so the bombardment was called off. However, Nobutsuna countered, "Our aim was to psychologically damage the rebel forces, who were hoping for reinforcements from Portugal." It is believed that this actually had the effect of undermining the morale of the rebel forces. At the time, the Netherlands and Portugal were fighting the Dutch-Portuguese War, 1603 to 1663, and it is said that this Dutch aid was also motivated by the Dutch desire to monopolize trade with Japan and eliminate their enemy, Portugal. The punitive force secretly sent messengers and arrows into Hara Castle, informing the rebels that those who were not Christians and had been forced to join the uprising would be spared, and calling on them to surrender, but was unsuccessful. Some estimates suggest that around 10,000 people surrendered at this time. The rebels holed up inside the castle descended the cliffs to the sea to supplement their rations with seaweed. Matsudaira Nobutsune examined the stomachs of the corpses of the rebels who had escaped from the castle and found only seaweed, which convinced him that they were running out of food. On February 24, April 8, Nobutsune decided to launch an all-out attack. Nabeshima Katsunari's surprise attack began the day before the scheduled date, and various feudal lords launched attacks one after the other. With supplies and ammunition running low within the castle, this all-out attack resulted in the capture of Hara Castle. Amakusa Shiro was killed, and the rebel forces were massacred and suppressed. The shogunate's punishment was extremely severe, and Catholics on the southern peninsula and the Amakusa Islands were almost entirely wiped out, with the exception of a small number of former residents who had escaped the rebellion and a small number of believers living in remote areas. The few remaining believers became hidden Christians. After the Shimabara Rebellion, the shogunate strengthened its ban on Christianity and promoted a policy of national isolation. Furthermore, the destruction of abandoned castles accelerated. The total number of shogunate troops and the besieged forces throughout the period are outlined below. Furthermore, because a considerable number of ronin participated in both offensive and defensive forces, the total military strength exceeded the number of soldiers each daimyo had based on their kakudaka, rice yield. Of the three Amakusa clans, Amakusa, Shiki, and Sumoto, ronin from the Amakusa and Shiki clans, which had been eliminated, became leaders and joined the rebel forces. The Sumoto clan served the Hosokawa clan and joined the shogunate forces as their vassals. Ronin from all over Japan also participated in the shogunate forces. Furthermore, not all residents of the Shimabara and Amakusa regions participated in the uprising, many joined the shogunate forces. We arrived at the parking lot. This is the last place we will visit today. From here, you can explore on foot. Hara Castle ruins. You can kind of see the castle's appearance. The cherry blossoms are in full bloom. The place was once a battlefield. Now it's a place where animals can live peacefully. Is this a castle stone wall? Did these stones watch the people fighting here? The opposite bank is Kumamoto Prefecture. Maybe it's someone's grave. We arrived at the ruins of the main castle. As a result of the shogunate's attack and subsequent executions, all 37,000 people, men and women of all ages, who had been besieged in the castle, were ultimately killed. The only survivors were the families of those who supported the shogunate and had been captured by the rebels. However, there is also a theory that some rebels surrendered or escaped before the general attack. Matsukura Katsui, lord of Shimabara domain, was held responsible for inciting the uprising by collecting tax revenues so harsh that it was impossible for the people to make a living. He was stripped of his title and later beheaded. This was the only case of a daimyo being beheaded during the Edo period. Terasawa Takataka, who held the Amakusa domain, was also held responsible, and his territory in Amakusa was confiscated. Later, Terasawa Takataka became mentally unstable and committed suicide, ending the Terasawa family line. Even though it's a place where sad things happened, it's really beautiful. After walking for a while, we have arrived at a location related to Amakusa Shiro. Amakusa Shiro. New flowers have been placed. Please, rest in peace. On May 30, 1938, it was designated a National Historic Site and Cultural Asset. The castle's main enclosure houses a statue of Amakusa Shiro offering prayers, created by Minamishimabara-born sculptor Sibo Kitamura, as well as Amakusa Shiro's gravestone, which was buried in the stone wall of a private home in Nishiari-cho. The plateau was created by pyroclastic flows from the massive eruption of Mount Aso approximately 90,000 years ago, and the layers of this rock contain white pumice, which has completely different properties from those of Mount Unzen. It is a component asset of the World Heritage Site Hidden Christian Sites in the Nagasaki region. Another history lesson. Thank you for watching.